Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that, and welcome everybody to the December webinar titled Unwrap Life Insurance this year. We'll be speaking about living gifts or living benefits that your clients can receive from life insurance policies. And skip ahead here to the first slide. I've really broken this down into three main topics or areas, categories of living benefits, including health insurance supplements, money to help with unfortunate events that are not health related, and then access to cash, which can certainly help people in times of need. Now, how are these items, these a lot of times riders on policies, going to help you? Well, they're going to give your client a reason to use their policy without dying first. They now have another reason to call you and experience firsthand the benefits of having you as their life insurance agent because you were wise enough to put these additional benefits on their policy. It's certainly going to give you more opportunities to examine their current needs and potentially make additional sales. You know, also, if they benefit from their policy, don't you think that they're going to be telling their friends, their coworkers, and their family members? When you talk about a lead generation system, you should end up with referrals calling you when clients benefit from some of these living gifts on their policies. So we'll jump right in. I'll go over the what I would call the health insurance supplements. To start with, this is certainly the probably the most extensive area of living benefits from life insurance policies. And you know, with a lot of employers cutting back on benefits these days, or folks that where, geez, the employer might not even have any benefits anymore beyond a paycheck, people are looking for ways to get benefits like disability income or critical illness, maybe to help cover the gaps in a high deductible health insurance policy. Long-term care, they might view the premiums as too expensive, and something a lot of us have used before, a waiver of premium for disability, and something fairly new, a medical second opinion. So I'll go over these in a little more detail. Disability income, of course, provides a paycheck if the client is unable to work due to illness or injury. When the rider is put on a life insurance policy, you don't have many choices. You'll see a 90-day elimination. That's standard. You can't change that to your benefit. Nice thing is you have minimal disability underwriting. If you would have the client go through a full DI application, then they might need to provide tax returns and maybe need some sort of an exam in some situations. You won't see that when it's a rider on a policy. And carriers we have that offer this include Surety Life, Forester's Life, Mutual of Omaha, where you can tack on a disability rider. And a simple way to do this is just ask the client about their benefits at work. You know, do you have a disability policy through work? Is it short-term? Is it long-term? And they might need to check with their employer or check their employee benefits folder to see what it is. You'll find some deficiencies out there, and you'll be able to help some folks very easily with a rider on a life insurance policy. These riders are not quotable on our iPipeline quoting engine, so you do need to use the carrier's actual software to do this. I think a lot of times it's out of sight, out of mind. It'd be nice if the engine had it on there, but you just need to make yourself a mental note to speak about that with your clients. Another health insurance supplement, it seems to be getting a little more traction these days, is critical illness. Now, what is critical illness? Well, it pays a lump sum upon diagnosis of a life-threatening critical illness, such as a heart attack, stroke, life-threatening cancer, organ failure, and you know, this really helps the healthy spouse who's at home. You know, if you think about it, the person who has this illness, hopefully they have health insurance that's helping to pay some of the expenses. Hopefully you've already sold them the disability policy or the disability rider, so part of their income is being replaced. But what about that healthy spouse who's at home? You know what? They're healthy. They don't qualify for disability, but they're probably taking some time off of work to help the unhealthy spouse, whether it's going to a hospital hours away from home, maybe in another state. Maybe it's in town, but they need to be spending time with that spouse. Maybe they need to spend more time at home helping care for them. Well, you're going to have an income gap there, and there's nothing else that's going to fill that. So a critical illness policy, a lump sum, 50,000, 100,000, maybe it's 20,000, whatever, can help fill that gap, and it can certainly help fill the gap with the person's high deductible health insurance policy. Ask them about their coverage at work, because if they've got a 5,000, a 10,000, maybe a $20,000 deductible, they might not have the cash on hand to pay for that. A critical illness policy can really fill in the gap. As far as carriers that offer this, I know Foresters has this, and we have a couple others that, if I remember right, may as well. But give us a call when you come across those opportunities. And the next health insurance supplement benefit I want to speak about is long-term care. We're starting to see these riders on more and more life insurance policies. Some people refer to them as hybrids or linked benefit policies. And the way they work, they accelerate the death benefit for long-term care purposes. If the client has lost 2 of 6 activities of daily living, or they have severe cognitive impairment such as Alzheimer's, you can actually accelerate that death benefit at different rates depending on the carrier, and use that while the client is still living to pay for the cost of care. These are available on multi-pay scenarios. Maybe a client wants to pay monthly or annually like they do in their life insurance premium currently, or they have a lump sum sitting around, and you determine through a fact finder that the reason for that money being there is to pay for the cost of care. You can get a lot more leverage by just moving that money around into one of these hybrid policies. Also found a couple reasons why people buy these days, and it all stems back to guarantees. Guarantees are big right now while the economy is not doing well. People want to know that they can count on a few things out there. 2 of the guarantees that you'll see here are, one, that the client's premium will never change. These hybrids are based on whole life policies or a universal life with a no-lapse guarantee. Client has an ironclad guarantee. Their premium will never change. It could change, and probably will, with a traditional long-term care policy. Also, they're guaranteed that their benefit will be paid out. A major concern with long-term care is that, if I never use this, I've lost all my money. I paid the premium and never got a benefit. And that will never happen with a hybrid policy. If you don't use it for long-term care, the death benefit is assured of going to your heirs when you pass away. And another health benefit here, one that a lot of us are familiar with, is a waiver of premium. Simply waives your life insurance premiums. If you're injured or ill and can't work, normally you have a 6-month elimination period. You have to keep those premiums paid for that period of time, and then your premiums will be paid for by the carrier until the end of your disability, the level term period, or when you do pass away. So it ensures that coverage that you really need to be there is going to stay in force. It's not going to be at risk just because you're ill or injured and can't work. And again, hopefully you have a disability policy to help replace part of your income, but that's just part of your income. It won't pay for all of the bills. More than likely, you have the ability to take one bill away from the client by putting on a waiver of premium. And lastly, I'll speak briefly about the MediGuide benefit. This is something offered only by Banner Life, and it's a medical second opinion program. It costs the client nothing. Banner includes it on all their policies right now. And the way it works is if the client, after having had that policy issued and enforced, if they're diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, maybe cancer, maybe it's a heart attack, maybe it's some other dread disease, well, they can ask for a second opinion on the proper plan of treatment. So whatever their doctor comes up with, that's great, but Banner says that studies have found second opinions greatly increase the client's chances of recovery. And they would love the client to recover because that means they're still paying their premiums and the death benefit has not been paid out. So they have every reason in the world to want your client to continue to live and pay those premiums. And it gives your clients access to some of the leading research hospitals in the world. For instance, the Harvard Teaching Hospitals, the Cleveland Clinic, King's College Hospital in London. And there's also a leading research hospital in Berlin that's on the list. But if your client has one of these dread diseases, all they have to do is contact MediGuide, and MediGuide will then send them a list of eligible research hospitals. The client can choose one, maybe 2, to have their records sent there, and then MediGuide will order all the doctor's records. It doesn't cost them anything. Send them off to a doctor at one of these leading research hospitals. Send the records off, that is, and then they will send a formal plan of care or plan of treatment to the client, and the client's local doctor as the second opinion. So a great added benefit to put on there. Again, if the client's in a remote area or not near a major city, boy, this could really be huge. So that's the last of the health insurance supplement living benefits. There are also some benefits that the client can receive that are based on an unfortunate event happening to the client or where the client lives. They're not based on the client's health, but just some unfortunate event. This includes disaster relief from one of our carriers, and also a waiver of premium for unemployment. Again, not dependent upon the client's health at all. I'll start off with the disaster relief. This is available through Forrester's Life. They're a fraternal company. The only fraternal we work with, might be the only one that works through marketing, independent marketing organizations. But as a fraternal, they have to give back to their policyholders, which are members. One of the ways they do this is with emergency grants, up to $300. And in the official wording, they said they give that out for personal hardship, disaster, or large-scale emergency. And if we look back on 2011, boy, there have been a lot of natural disasters that have been in the news throughout the year, different parts of the country. You may remember the tornadoes in Joplin, Missouri, and throughout the South early in the year. Flooding in the Midwest, particularly along the Missouri River. Earthquakes recently, even in Oklahoma. Hurricanes every year along the Gulf Coast and the East Coast. And, of course, we had all sorts of wildfires in New Mexico and Texas. So if you have clients that are affected by one of these disasters, they're out of their home, maybe their home has been destroyed, boy, every little extra dollar really counts and can help them put food on the table, do laundry, buy extra clothes. Maybe they had to leave their home in a hurry. Again, maybe their home is now gone and they have nothing. They're living out of a hotel somewhere else. Every last bit of cash can really help. And if they have a policy with Forrester's, as long as it's $10,000 of death benefit or more, they're eligible for these disaster relief funds. Wouldn't it be great if we don't want to have this happen to any of our clients, but if it did, if your client would be able to remember that, yeah, you helped them get the policy that helped them get extra cash when they needed it. The other unfortunate event assistance here is unemployment waiver of premium. We've had, it seems like, record levels of unemployment in this country for a few years now. Now, this won't help those that don't have a job right now, but should something happen to them down the road, they've got some extra assurances that their life insurance premiums will continue to be paid. Mutual of Omaha offers this as a rider on their term life policy, and in fact, between the time that this PowerPoint was put together just last month and just this week, discovered that their fully underwritten term policy has this built in right now, the Term Life Answers. You see that on a quoting engine. It has an unemployment waiver premium rider built into it. Prudential also has an innovative product they call Work Life 65. It's a term to age 65, includes a waiver of premium for disability and unemployment. And I know with Prudential, the client must prove in continuous employment prior to the claim. They have to have the policy in force for a year. With Mutual of Omaha, the client has to have the policy in force for 2 years before they're eligible for this. But what a great added benefit to have out there if they lose their job. It doesn't mean that they lose their life insurance. And the third category of living benefits I'll speak about this morning involve access to cash. Now with this, we're assuming that nothing bad has happened to the client. Their health hasn't changed for the worse. They haven't lived through a natural disaster. They haven't lost their job. We're just trying to make their life a little bit easier, give them access to funds without having to go to a bank and a loan officer and beg for money. So this category includes cash loans from permanent policies, a discount on legal services, and also access to additional college scholarships. Cash loans, this might be the area that we're all most familiar with. It's available on universal life, whole life, even some return of premium term life insurance policies. So it allows the client to be their own banker. They can borrow money from their policy at any time. There's no loan application that's necessary. You don't have to prove income or prove your ability to pay back the loan. In fact, you don't even have to pay back the loan. It's your own money. All you have to do is request it. If it's in the policy, the carrier is obligated to give you that money, and you can do with it whatever you want. There are no rules as far as what you have to use that money for. So real easy access to cash if the client needs it. And legal services, you know, at some point in time, I think all of us are going to have need of legal services, whether it's drafting a will, maybe setting up a trust, maybe it's to help a loved one, a deceased loved one, I should say, probate their estate. It's going to happen. So Foresters Life recognizes this. It's another one of their member benefits. And what they do is if you have a policy with them, you have access to a service called Legal Link. Now, this is a nationwide network of attorneys, and they offer discounted services, especially for common legal services, some of which I mentioned. Maybe a client is going through a divorce or a bankruptcy procedure. Maybe they're looking to incorporate. They're starting their own business. Or you've done a fact finder with them and you found out that they don't have a will. And that's pretty common. A lot of folks don't have a will drafted. They're leaving everything up to the courts when they pass away. Maybe they don't know who to go to. Maybe they think it's too expensive. Well, if they had a policy with Foresters, they can contact Legal Link, find attorneys in their area who are in the network, so to speak, and get one drafted at a extreme discounted price here. So again, you can help your clients save money with legal services here. Something else Foresters offers as a fraternal organization for all their members, children of members have access to college scholarships. Now, how can you get one of those? Well, you do have to apply. They offer about 350 of these every year. I know last year they say about 1,000 people had applied. So your odds are pretty good of being able to get one of these. And works out to be about 1 in 3 based on the applicants. And they pay the student $2,000 a year. That's renewable for up to 4 years. So that's $8,000 sitting out there for your clients' children potentially. $8,000 times the number of children they have going to college. So this could be a tremendous benefit. Think of how long it would take them to accumulate that same kind of money in a fund, and how long it would take. They have access to a lot of money here. Again, they're getting that money because you told them about this, and you were able to get a Foresters life insurance policy in the household. So that's really the 3 areas of living benefits or living gifts from life insurance policies. We've got the health insurance supplements. Really help out now as employers are cutting back on benefits. We've got help for unfortunate events that, hey, through no fault of their own, the client has been affected. And we can also give clients easier access to cash when they need it, just trying to make their life a little bit easier. So if we have any questions, I'll take a look here and see if any get typed in. Next month I'll be speaking about underwriting niches, different areas in which carriers excel, and how you can help your clients get to the right carrier the first time based on their unique health conditions. Some online tools you can use to help peg the right rate class and the right carrier the first time. So I see no questions at this time, so I'd like to thank you all for attending. And again, join us next month as we speak about underwriting niches, and every month as we speak about a different topic here. And have yourselves a great day. If you have any other questions afterwards, I'm at 800-397-9999, extension 3371.